It's your boy Girl here, back with another video, and today I got a special video, guys, man. Today we're gonna be back with another video, bro. Crazy, bro. I didn't think I was gonna make another video for you guys. It's been a month. It's like almost been like a month and a half since I made my last video and everything like that. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video. It was about how to get godly rank equipments, and I feel like this has been a very controversial thing with this new update with the whole godly thing. And I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube from other people's videos like how to get godly equipment, and I just feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding. I really want to make a full in-depth guide about it. I don't want to do like, oh, all you gotta do is get red slots, because there's not every single time there is a red slot for your first slot is guaranteed a godly equipment. Like, I'm gonna show you guys certain examples and everything, and I'm gonna show you guys the proper way of getting god rank equipment. So this doesn't mean I'm going to be returning back on YouTube, but I really do want to make this video for you guys because I did make a thread on this on Twitter, but a lot of you guys don't follow me on Twitter, so I want to make this on YouTube so you guys can fully understand what needs to go down in order to have godly rank equipment. So I just want to show you everything like that, and let me just show you this, and I'm gonna get down to these perfect examples and everything like that, and the calculations that I figured out on how to get godly rank equipments every single time. So you guys see here, there's times where you look at my Z plus equipments, I have gold slots, but they're Z plus. But then there's times where I have gold slots here and they're godly. So with godly rank equipments, it is about percentages. Don't focus on the gold slots and the red slots, because like I said, in this video I'm gonna show you guys examples of where there's times where there is a red slot on the first and it's a Z plus, and with Z plus the other slots are maxed out, and there's Z plus, and there's times where it's gold and all that good stuff there. So this is really an intro. I'm gonna try to edit this vid out and get my proper thoughts in and everything like that. And like I said, it's gonna be a really full in-depth guide, so hope you guys tune in and really pay attention, because this is very, very important into getting god rank equipment. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Okay, so now the question is, why am I making this video? Like I said, I'm making this videos because there's really no calculator for you to calculate how to get godly equipments. Now remember, for the Z plus equipments, I usually tell you guys to go to legends.dbz.space to figure out how to get, what's the percentage you guys need to get to Z plus. But as of this recording, they haven't updated it to what's the percentage for you to get a god rank equipment. So even if you use this website, it's not going to tell you what you need for god rank. It's still on Z plus. They still hadn't updated this website for that ranking calculator thing. So as of right now, we can't even use this to verify what equipment needs to be god rank. So if you guys go here, like I said, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I actually make a thread explaining everything down, but I want to make it into a video because YouTube is more people, and I want you guys to really understand everything like that. So once I got that out the way, now I can explain why the percentages matters. So in order for you to get god rank, there's one big rule in terms of your first slot. The first slot is very, very important. And like I said, I want you guys to focus on the percentage of this first slot, not the gold or the red. And I'm gonna break that to you down in other sections of this video. But the reason why the percentage thing is more important than the red and gold slot is because there's times where you have equipments where they have 2 slots and 3 slots. And all it takes is one of those equipment's numbers to hit that red slot number or that gold slot number, and it just turns gold or red. And the other ones could be way lower and it won't equate for you to get a Z plus. So the minimum amount that your first slot needs to be, it needs to be 93% of the max slot. Now what does that mean, Green Ruff? All right, let me break you down. Let me break this example down. So let's take a look at this Vegeta equipment, right? Take a look at the slot 1. In order for you, the minimum amount for that slot 1 of this, you guys see how it's 18, like the number is 18. It needs to be 93% of the max slot number. So the minimum number that you need for slot 1, and you have slot 2 and slot 3 max out, it needs to be 93% of the max number. So for example, for this number here, 18 is the max number. Now we need to find what's the value of 93% of 18. So in order for you to do this, go get, you guys have phones, right? you guys have a calculator. So what you guys want to do here is scroll down, go to your calculator. Right, remember the max slot of this example of that equipment is 18. So what we're going to do here, we're going to 18, and we're going to times this by 90. Oops, clear this. We're going to do 18 times 0.93. So you guys see here, it says 16.74. So that's the minimum number that slot 1 needs to be at in order for it to be God ranked. And I'm going to show you guys an example. But this is the minimum number. Now I'm gonna break down this example itself, because this actually has 2 decimal numbers. That's actually important. But this is the minimum number, and since it's 16.74, whenever you do these calculations and you do whatever the max number times 0.93, and you do get 2 numbers on the right side of the decimal, the number on the furthest of the right, if it's 4 or lower, then you round it down. If it's 5 or higher, you round it up. Now, what do I mean by that? So, say for example, this number is 16.74, right? But when you roll this equipment, it's not going to give you 16.74. It's usually going to give you 16.7 or 16.8. Now, since this calculation is 16.74, you roll it down, because 4 or lower, you round it down. So this number, the lowest number that it could be, is 16.7. I actually want to show you guys a screenshot from one of these examples here that I actually got from Virgil. If you guys see here, let me actually go back to that equipment there. My bad. Take a look at this equipment. This equipment right here is out of 18%. I actually have this equipment here, gold slotted. I mean, golly slotted. My bad, is out of 18%, and we did that multiplication out of that 0.93%, right? And this is 16.7. And you guys see, even out of 16.7. Virgil maxed out slot 2 and slot 3, and it was able to get him godly rank. So when it's the 0.4 or lower, you can round it down and it'll be 16.7. Now, say for example, this calculation was like 16.76, then the minimum number that it needs to be for slot 1 is 16.8, because 5 or higher, you round it up, so it'll be 16.8 instead of 16.7. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. The slot 1 needs to be at 93% of slot 1. It needs to be 93%. And now I'm going to show you guys examples of when there's equipments that has more than 1 slots, because you guys know there are equipments here. I want to show you guys an example here. There are equipments where you have, for example, like this Regen Piccolo, like there's 2 slots, and that means these slots needs to be added up together, and they still need to be in total 93% of the slot. And I'm going to show you guys that calculations in the next section. Okay, so now I want to actually break down what to do when there's equipment that has 2 or more slots in that first slot. Remember, this is all about the first slots. The reason why the first slot is very, very important to us is because as of this recording, there's no way for us to re-roll the first slot or even guarantee it or anything like that. So whatever we get as a first slot, we can't change. That's why this first slot is very important. Why this number, this minimum percentage of this number needs to be important for the first slot, is because whatever we get for our first slot, we can't change. So that's why I don't want you guys to be not knowing what's the minimum percentage for the first slot, because if you don't know it and if you don't calculate it right, you're gonna waste a lot of erasers just to get that equipment to Z plus, and it's not godlyable, right? So that's why this emphasis on the first slot is super important on how to get a godly rank equipment, because slot 2 and slot 3 you can re-roll, you can guarantee upgrade for it to be max. So yeah, just wanted to point that out there. Now I'm gonna show you guys an example of of the same equipment, right? I'm gonna show you guys an example of the same equipment. It's the same equipment, but there's one that's Z plus and there's one that's godly, and I'm gonna show you guys the calculations and everything like that. So let's take a look at the Z plus. Now, take an example of this equipment. We're gonna talk about this equipment. This equipment is, I actually needed to re-roll another equipment for Kid Buu because of this problem of this whole 93%. So when this update came out, this was the equipment that I already had for Kid Buu. But this equipment right here was not godly ranked. When I looked at it, I was like, dang, this looked pretty good for a godly rank equip, but it didn't meet the criteria of that 93%. And I'm going to show you guys the calculations. So whenever you have equipment first slots that has 2 or more, it could be 2, it could be 3, whatever.
you gotta get the average of them, and it has to average out to be 93%. Now, what do you mean by that? Let me show you this example right here. So you guys see this Kid Buu equipment. We look at the first slot. We see strike defense, and then we see health restoration. So what we're going to do here, we're going to apply that 0.93 rule, right? We're going to apply that 0.93 rule, and we're going to do all that stuff and figure out, is this slot 1 93% or not? So we take a look here. This is 14.10 out of 15, and then health restoration is 9 out of 10, right? So what we're going to do here to figure out what percentage each of these are to their respective numbers, we have to divide. So like I said, this is actually kind of like a math class in a sense, but if you guys want to know what it's like to get a guaranteed godly, this is what you need to do. So what we're going to do here is we have 14.1, and the max number for that strike defense is 15. So to figure out that percentage, we're going to do 14.1 divided by 15. So boom, that first slot, that first thing with the strike defense is a 94% of the max number of that strike defense, right? So it's 94%, which that means it's a thumb up, right? It's a thumbs up, right? That means it's 93 or higher, so that means it should be required for that godly rank equipment, right? So now the question is like, why is it not godly? But the problem is we got to check the health restoration as well. We got to check that percentage as well. Remember, if it's 2 or more, we got to get the percentage of each one. So now we go, it's 9 out of 10. So basically what you do is just 9 divided by 10. It'll be 0.9. So that means the what's the name is 90%, while the other one was 94%. So what do you do with those two numbers? You add them together and you divide them by 2, because there's 2 slots. So you divide it by 2. So for this example, we're going to do 90% plus 94%. Right, we equal that out and we divide it by 2, and together that first slot in as a collective is actually a 92% slot, not a 93%, and that's the reason why this equipment right here did not make it to godly, because it didn't average out to that 93%. That's the reason why it didn't do it. Right, you see the first slot, you see the second and third are maxed out, but this one was at a 92%. That's why it didn't hit Z plus. It didn't hit godly rank. Now I want to show you guys that same equipment, but this one is godly. Let's take a look at it, right? So you guys see here strike defense, and you guys see health restoration. So let's take that same approach, but we're going to do it for the godly rank equipment. You guys see here slot 2 and slot 3 are maxed out. The only thing that's changed is slot 1. Let's see the percentage of slot 1 for the same exact equipment. So what we're going to do here, right, 13.8 is for our strike defense. So remember, the max number is 15 for that strike defense. So what we're going to do here is 13.8 divided by 15. Boom, this is 0.92. All right, so this is 0.92. So that means it's below that 93 threshold that we want, right? But what makes this change is that health restoration one. So you guys see the health restoration is 9.9 out of 10. So then when you do 9.9 divided by 10, it's 99%. So then what you do here, we have 92 for that strike defense one percentage, and then we had the 99 for that health restoration percentage. So what you do here is 92 plus 99 equals 191, right? But then you have to divide it by 2 because there's 2 slots for that first slot, and it averages out to 95.5% of that slot 1. And that's the reason why this slot 1 was able to hit godly. This equipment itself was able to hit godly because the slot 1, the combined average equals up to over 93%, while the other one was 92%, and that's the reason why it was Z plus. So hopefully this really understands. I really want to be super in depth, and I actually want to show you guys another example of a equipment that had 3 slots. It has 3 red slots on each equipment, but the problem is it did not hit godly rank because of that calculation. I want to show you guys an example in the next section. Okay, so for this one, right, this is off my timeline. This is off the Twitter post, the Twitter thread that I made about how to get godly rank equipments, right? So take a look here. This person right here said if it's red and it's staying there, that's how I see it at least. So his thought was, okay, so watching this thing, he's saying like, oh, or if it's a red slot, then that means it should be good. It should be good. Now that red slot thing will only really apply to equipment that only has 1 slot for the first slot. So say for example, equipment like this. Let me just give you guys an example, right? Let me see here. Like for example, like this equipment. All right, if this equipment is a red slot on the first slot because it only has one slot thing, one stat for the slot 1, it's going to be godly rank. As long as you max out slot 2 and slot 3, it's going to be godly rank. But it gets real tricky when it comes to first slots that has 3 stats in there or 2 stats in there, because you got to get that average, right? And like I said, when it comes to those type of equipments, all it takes is one of those stats to hit that red slot threshold for it to be red slotted. And that's where you guys need to be very careful, is when there's equipments that has 2 or more slots on that first slot, right? So if he's implying that it's only for 1 stats for that first slot, then yeah, this is actually 100% true. But it's not actually 100% true for every equipment, because not every equipment has 1 stat in that first slot. So you guys see here, I actually commented down, I said be careful with the red slot, especially when it comes down to first slots that has more than 1 stats on it. For example, like that Kid Buu equipment and other equipment that has more than 1 stat on it, because it only takes one of those stats to hit the red slot number requirement for the slot to be red. The other ones could be bad rolls and not equal to the 93% percentage of making the equip godly. Now, for example here, we're going to take a look at an example of this equipment. This is the equipment I want to show you. So this is the Frieza plat for, I believe this is for yellow, the Zenkai full power LF final form Frieza, right? And he has his equipment. You guys see here, you guys see 3 red slots. It's 3 red slots. And it's maxed out. Remember, the slot 3 is red. He has slot 2 completely maxed out. Slot 1 is red. And it did not make it to godly. Why is that? Now let's test. Does it hit the 93% requirement threshold? So what we're going to do here, we're going to have to start calculating. So I actually have this equipment. I don't think I actually got it godly because I don't really care about that Frieza at all. But we want to just take the percentage just to verify. This is the exact same equipment, right? I'm the one that'll be the one that kills you, right? So we have this here out of 15 and 25 and 25. So let's calculate this. Let's calculate this and see, does this qualify to be a godly rank equipment, and does it hit that 93% threshold regardless, even though it is a Z plus? I'm in a red slot for the slot 1. So you guys see here it's 14.5. 14.5 out of maxes will be 15, so we'll divide this by 15. So this right here is 96.7. So do I actually have a paper here? Actually, no. Yes, I do. I actually got a pencil here. So we're going to write this down. The first slot is 96.7. We're going to round this. We're going to round this, right? So let's take a look at the other slots, right? So we see here, right, this is 22.8. Let's do 22.8 divided by 25, because 25 is the max slot, and we want to see that percentage of that slot 1. So we're going to do 22.8 divided by 25, and this is 91.2. So this is 91.2% of the max slot of that specific stat. So 91.2. And then let's take a look at that last one. So this one is 22.35. So what we're going to do here is 20, is it 22? Yeah. Let's clear this. 22.35 divided by 25. This one is 0.894. 0.894. So that means when you move the decimals twice, it'll be 89.4% of the max slot of that slot specifically. So we do 89.4. So the 3 numbers we got is 96.7, 91.2, and then 89.4, right? So what we're going to do here, we're going to add this up, and we're going to divide it by 3. The reason why we're going to divide it by 3 this time compared to 2 is because there's 3 slots in that slot, in that first slot. There's 3 stats in that first slot. So what we want to do is add the numbers up and then divide it by 3. And then we're going to see, does it hit that 93% threshold? And this will prove my my theory. So 96.7. Right, we're going to plus 91.2, right, and then we're going to plus 89.4, right. We're going to equal this out, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to divide this by 3. Divide this by 3, and the number that you get is 92.43. So we can't round this. We can't round this up, so it's actually going to round down, and it's going to be 92.4. 90.44 because 3 is lower, so that's 92.4. Overall, this equipment did not hit that 93% threshold, and that is the reason why this equipment made it to the Z plus, because that first slot did not hit the 93% threshold. And that's what I really want you guys to understand, is the 93% threshold. 93% of the max slot of the first slot. So yeah, so this is gonna be very confusing. It's gonna be very confusing in terms of the calculations, but once you guys understand, don't focus on the red slot, don't focus on the gold slot. Make sure that it is not the minimum for that first slot is 93%. If there's 2 or more, what you got to do is get the percentage of each one by dividing the number that you have here by the max, and then you add them up together, and depending on how many stats is in the first slot, you divide it by 2, you divide it by 3, you divide it by 1, and that's how you'll know, does that equipment hit that 93% threshold. And that's how you'll know, all right, this equipment can be Z plus. I mean, this equipment can be God rank. This equipment is Z plus. So hopefully these examples in here really prove my example. I try to show you guys equipments of the same equipment. One was godly, one was Z plus, max slots on the slot 2 and slot 3. The only difference was the percentage of the slot 1. I try to show you guys examples of the ones that has 2 or more stats on the first slot. So I want to show you guys, like, you got to make sure that it averages 93. And I actually showed you guys an example of an equipment that actually had 3 red slots, and it did not hit that godly rank equipment because it did not equal out to that 93% threshold that you need for that first slot. So I really wanted to make this video because it's very, very important. Like I said, we don't know what Legends is going to do. Maybe in the next update they might have some where it has like a queue, like, all right, this equipment is godly, it can hit the godly threshold, and this equipment can. The only thing, the highest it can go to is Z plus, right? But we don't have that right now. So right now is you guys gonna have to manually do your calculations. And like I said, the most important thing is that 93% threshold for sure. So if you guys don't have Twitter, follow me on Twitter. Make sure you guys bookmark this Twitter thing, this Twitter thread that I made, so you guys can understand it. We actually got, how many people bookmarked it? We actually got 327 people bookmarked it. I've seen a lot of people quoting my tweets, and other people from the French and other communities that speak different languages actually translated my little thread so they can spread awareness for this. So if you guys know anybody, or if you guys are on Reddit, or you guys are on Discord, send this video out. If people are not the best at wanting to read, because we're Dragon Ball fans, but we don't like to read. We can't read. So hopefully this video explains everything with the calculations. And if people really want to know a full depth guide, please share this video out. Because like I said, we don't really have anything that can show us, all right, what is guaranteed godly. And this is right now, this is what I did. I basically did this on my free time. You guys know I don't really, on my free time, I was curious. I was like, all right, why are some equipments that I have gold rank, max slots, those are not Z plus, but some are. So what I started to do was I started to divide the slot, the max number. I started to do some math calculations, and 93% is the number that I found to be the case. That's the number that needs to average out. And once I started to figure that out, I was like, all right, then why some of these ones that has multiple stats aren't hitting it? And I realized you need the average to be 93%. So the first slot average needs to be 93%, as long as you're going to max out the slot 1 and slot 2. Now, one last thing before we leave. I know a lot of you guys are going to have questions about this right here. Let me go on to this next section and we're going to wrap this video up. But there is one last section that I need to talk about before we wrap this video up. Okay, so now the last thing I kind of want to talk about is characters plat equips. Character plat equips are going to be the most weirdest one. You guys see this guy Peachy Bot, he said explain this then. So I honestly don't know the calculations when it comes to equipment like this, because you guys see here, this guy has a red slot, he has a gold slot, and then he has a green slot, and then this is godly. I honestly don't know, because not every single plat is all about numbers. You guys see here, there's ones that just has wording. There's some that has like 20% damage, and then all the rest are just words. So like, I don't know, how can you calculate words? Like, what's the percentage of words? You can't really do that, right? So I would say, if you guys are having iffy stuff about those type of equipment, where you have equipment, say for example like this orange piccolo one that he has, like this is just straight words. Apply the form of itself after transforming. Like, how do you get the percentage of this? You know what I'm saying? You can't really. So I would just say, even when it comes to character plats, even like the ones that has wording and stuff on the slot 3s and stuff, just make sure that first slot equals, I mean, it is 93%. That's probably the safest thing that I will say, is make sure that slot 1 averages out to that 93% threshold that we was talking about throughout this whole video, and everything else should be fine. Everything else should be good as long as you have the red slot for slot 2 and slot 3. You might be able to get a golly just having a slot 2 gold, and then you have this slot 2 maxed out, and then you have this 93%. I honestly don't know. I mean, when I'm working on a character plat, you want slot 3, you want the slot 3 to be red, because that's the best stats for that character. So I would just say, even with these character plats, where these specific unit plats, LF plats, character plats, whatever you guys want to call it, just make sure that slot 1 still equals out to that 93% threshold, and it still should be fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. Very in depth. Like I said, it is a very in depth, but I really hope you guys understand the importance of that first slot being a 93% average. 93% average. Don't focus on the red slot number, like the red slot signal or the gold slot, because like I said, I just showed you guys an example of equipment that had a first red slot and it did not hit golly rank. Everything else was maxed out. Slot 2 was max numbered and slot 3 was max numbered. They got the red slot of that Pacific Freezer equip, and it didn't equal out because, you know why? That first slot did not equal out to the 93%. So you guys see here, like for example, this Gogeta equipment. This one here, like, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of weird. This is a golly rank equipment. I don't know how, right? But I'm assuming, like, if I was to do this calculations, this equals out to probably over, or a little bit over 93.5, and then all that stuff. So like I said, even with the character plats, I would still try to make sure that the first slot is over 93% of the total equipment of that first slot average. So yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. You guys see here, even with this Goku plat here, you guys see I have a gold slot here, but this right here is most likely probably averages out as a 93%. This is 100%, and then slot 3, they probably don't really know how to calculate this, what percentage they'll give this, so they kind of just said whatever. But yeah, just make sure that this first slot averages out at 93%. Like I said, I want to give you guys a rundown after this video. So in order for you to find the percentage of that first slot, what you want to do here is you want to dictate what's the max number. The max number is 20, right? But the number that they gave you that you randomly rolled was 19.4. So what you want to do here, you want to go to calculate. You want to put the number that you randomly rolled, which will be 19.4, and then you want to divide that by the max number of that first slot, which is 20. So you do that, boom, that's the percentage number of that first slot that you got. It's 97, right? So this is for one that has one stat. And like I say, when it comes to 2 or more stats, you got to do that individually for each one, because like I said, some of them might have different numbers. So for example, like this particular one, you want to do the strike defense percentage, 17.95 divided by 18, get that percentage. Then you want to get the percentage of the blast defense one out of 18, 17.9 divided by 18, right? So you get 2 numbers, you get 2 number values. Add them together, get that number value, and then you divide it by 2, because there's 2 stats in that first slot, and that will be your average of that first slot. And if it's over 93%, you should be able to get it to golly rank. And if it's 3 or more, then you got to get the average of all 3 stats, then divide it by the respective max number, then make sure you add them up together, then divide it by 3, and hopefully the value gets over the 93%. So yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. You guys are probably asking me when I'm gonna make content and stuff. I honestly don't know. I'm kind of taking it day by day, but I definitely wanted to make this video for you guys, because I know a lot of you guys are really curious on like how to get golly rank. Some of you guys are probably scared of working on equipments and don't want to invest resources, but for now, this is what's been very accurate to me. Every time once I started applying this to my equipments, it worked every time. I'm 100% right now. So until I'm completely wrong, then I think this is what it is. So yeah, like I said, please share this video out, Twitter, whatever you guys want it. I doubt that anyone went this in depth, because I literally just made a thread. No one else knew what the percentage was besides me. So you know, I'm him. I'm the, you know what I'm saying, I'm him. You feel me? But yeah, life been pretty well for me. You know, my job has been pretty well for sure. I've been doing pretty good and stuff, but I just don't know when I'm going to fully return back on YouTube. But I definitely wanted to make this guide for you guys and everything like that. Love you guys, man. Take care of yourself. Hopefully y'all personal life is going well, just like mine's, and continue to get better every single day. So love you guys, man. You guys are amazing. You guys mean the world to me. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all so much, and I just wanted to drop this video for you guys, and hopefully this was super informative. Like, I really want this to be a super in-depth video because I care about the community so much, and I really just want a lot more people to be able to get godly rank equipments, because it looks tough, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like, having an all godly tough, like, look at that. That's cold, bro. That's cold. So yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. It's been your Griff, man, and till next time. Peace.